And of course, his getting hurt against Lawrence and then not playing against Northeast, and he was about 75% of the night. You know, all that goes into account, and not making excuses whatsoever. But DJ is a smart, good football player. Kelsey, you know, the sky's the limit for Kelsey. He's 6'5", he's 265, and he's a sophomore. So, you know, we've got some good people coming back. Devin Partlow, I think, will be as good a linebacker as we've had here probably since Hurley, Ricky Grant, since those guys. He's good. And then we can go on and on. But, you know, we've got some good people coming back. But those 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 are good football players. I think Festa's going to be a good offensive tackle for us. James got better this year, and I think he's going to get better. Therese Thomas and RJ played the strong safety, banded ends. The other one that we didn't mention may be one of the more highly recruited ones we have in Byron Best.
Yeah.
Because Byron Best is a lockdown cover corner. And he was by far the best in our region, maybe as good as anybody in the state. So, you know, there's some good football players at Greenwood High School coming another year.
And speaking of, you know, with the injury, with Swearinger, how bad do you think injuries hurt your performance against Clover? Because, you know, you had a lot of key players out.
Well, you know, I think that it's injuries are part of the game, and you certainly can't make excuses. Now, what we would have loved to have done, since you brought the question up a while ago, what we'd have loved to have done was to play Mike Coates at the defensive end, at the right defensive end. But Mike got hurt against Northeast. Number one, that left us Mike Rhodes and Devin at linebacker. Well, if Mike Coates had been healthy, we would have done that. We'd have played him there and played Richard back at the safety, where he could utilize his speed and all better. Because we did a lot of that this year when people went double tight. Instead of bringing the banded end up, we took one of the linebackers and put him on the line. But we needed to play them with 2 linebackers in the box. And we really only had 2 linebackers the whole week of practice, Mike and Devin. And I want to say what a great job they both did in that ball game. Mike and Devin played very well at linebacker. They played well. But we couldn't say, well, we're going to play Mike at this end, because we didn't know if Mike was going to be able to play or not. And as it turned out, he played a few plays, but he really couldn't play. So I think that injury defensively probably hurt us as much as anything, because we really couldn't defend them the way we really wanted to. And the way that would have been best. We couldn't do it because we didn't know how long Mike could play with a hurt leg, and as it turned out, he couldn't play very much. So, you know, but injuries are part of the game. I think to win championships, especially win state championship, you got to stay away from injuries, and we were able to do that last year. Even though we had some injuries during the season, we pretty much had everybody playing at the end of the year. This year we had a lot of injuries. We had some early, but we had a lot near the end of the season. That so we had kids sucking it up. We had kids getting after it. Coach Peterson was here at 7 o'clock in the morning, and probably not leaving to 8 or 8:30 at night, giving them treatment in the morning, treatment before practice, letting them go out, watch practice, treating them after practice. But, you know, we still, and they played, but, you know, they didn't play quite, they weren't at full speed. Right. And, yeah, and that makes a difference. But at the same time, I know Clover had something like that too. And you just gotta be fortunate. But football is the ultimate team sport. Yeah. And people have to step in and do the job. And we had somebody that did a great job. I might mention, if I can, DeMarcus Rapley that stepped in at Lawrence, and sophomore defensive back. DJ goes down in the third quarter. We're playing for the region championship. DeMarcus steps in, does a great job, plays against Richmond Northeast, does a good job there. You know, but that's what it takes. And of course, Christian stepping in, and we could go on and on. But you know, that's got to happen, and that's part of the game. And you can't use that as an excuse, because everybody by week 13 has got some injuries.
Yeah. And looking ahead to next year, what do you think some things that y'all are going to work on?
Well, again, I think we've got to we got to develop an identity offensively. I think is the main thing. We really had things were going well for us. We had a really good win against Westside, and then of course we have an injury to Jay, and so we sort of change our identity. And I think we got to decide what we really want. With Jay, I think what we were doing was a thing to do. He's back in the shotgun. He's taking the ball. He's giving off. We're running some option out of the shotgun because that was his strength. That was his strength. Christian, on the other hand, now, if Christian wins a battle, and we've got some other good quarterbacks in the program, but I think anytime you got experience,
right.
But we got to decide what our identity is going to be. Are we going to be a shotgun with Christian, who is not the threat to run?
Right. More or less pocket pass.
Did a good job running, but he's a 5 to 7 to 8 yards, not the 45 to 50. Or do we get him under center more, and try to either play a one back with 3 wides and a tight end, or do we play 2 backs? We feel like we've got some really good young backs, as well as some guys will be seniors next year coming back, but we've got a good group of backs. We just need to decide what we want to do, what their strength is. And I think that's always the key in high school football. You can't have a system and make your kids fit that system. You got to fit your system to your kids. And that's why I say our identity with Jay has not always been the identity at Greenwood High, but it was what was best for him. Now we got to decide what our identity is going to be.
So there'll be a completely different looking offense next year.
No, because that's one great thing about the offense that Chris Liner and really with Gene Cathcart, when we first came to Greenwood, Jeannie and I sat down, met hours upon hours. We took a lot we were doing at Union. We took a lot that he wanted to do. We put it together into a package. And Chris Liner, when he took over as offensive coordinator, has maintained a lot of that package. He's spread the package. So we can do whatever we need to do out of our package. So we've got a package. Part of it's under center, part of it's 2 backs, part of it's shotgun. All that's part of our package. What we've got to decide is which part of the package we want to stress. Okay. There may be times, just like New England right now is probably as good as there is. Basically, Brady is an under center quarterback, but occasionally they get in the shotgun. We've got to decide what we want that identity to be, but we won't change. I mean, it's the same system our kids have been in now for 11 years. We won't change the system. We'll just emphasize one part of it, maybe more so.
Okay. And lastly, there's a rumor going around that you might be running for Senate.
Well, I tell you, we certainly contemplated that at one time. Our whole life, meaning Mary and I, our whole life has been in service. Our whole life's been trying to help other people and be involved in the development of young people. And, we certainly thought about that. I don't think right now, I don't think we're going to do that. But, we want to serve and we want to try to make a difference. And I felt like that was one way you could do that. So, there was a lot of discussion, a lot of talking, a lot of praying about it. And, I won't say it's 100% out of the way, but right now that's not the direction we're leaning. But we'll just have to wait and see see what happens there. But certainly something, because I think a legislator can make a difference. And that was certainly something that we contemplated. And like I said, it's not totally gone, but it's right now, I don't think that's going to happen. But hey, you never know.
Never know. Well, Coach,
you never say never.